Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be unboxing the Tabletop Games Fantasy Heroes Fire Elementals from TT Combat. TT Combat were kind enough to send me this pack of fire elementals to review on the channel. So in this video, we'll get them open, have a good look at them in detail. Then I'll get them built and all assembled, and then you can see what they're like when they're put together. These are resin models, so there's going to be a little bit of cleaning to do beforehand. So we'll get that done here in the video too. Right, let's get this open. And TT Combat aren't far away from me down in Cornwall here. So I thought I'd reach out and say hi. And so it's great of them to send me this to try out. I've also got to try some of their terrain at some point. So I will be giving that a go. They do a big series of MDF terrain. So that'd be really interesting. But I'll put some links in the description below so you can check out their website too. But here we go. Here's our box of resin pieces. There's going to be a little bit of assembly here. And let's get it all out and then we can have a good look through it. So, and then this is a nice little touch here on the packaging. Any problems, please email. So that's really good, including that there. So yeah, any problems at all, you can just get in touch and I'm sure they'll sort it out really quick. But here's all the pieces now laid out on the table. And so we've got a little bit of trimming to do. The size of these, you're looking at about 3 inches for the tallest one, just under. So what's that? Almost 80 mil. And then these ones are going down to about 2.5 centimeters. We got 40 mil or just over 1.5 inch square MDF bases for these to go on. So I've never based anything on MDF bases before. But let's have a close look. You can see it's really shiny. So we'll give this a good scrub in some soapy water and we'll clean these up before we start gluing and painting. But the fire texture is really great on these, so this is going to be awesome for some contrast paints. But I'm going to be trying out some of the new speed paints. I got sent the yellow and orange by Army Painter, which are going to be perfect for this, so we'll see how they do on some large models. And here's the little arms we're going to have to trim and glue on later on. So there we go, again, nice detail in there. So these are going to go and look really great. And I'll be using these models for a Weekend Warriors game. So I'll be creating a skirmish battle all designed around these models. So look out for that coming soon. But in this video, we'll just get them like cleaned, assembled, and then you can see them put together. Then I'll do another painting video. And then I'll do a third video where we look at them in gameplay with Weekend Warriors. This one's got some chunky stumps at the bottom we need to trim off. So that's going to go flush like that. So there we go, there's all the pieces that come. They're really sturdy, nice and strong. I'm twisting them there. There's a little bit of give, but they're very strong. So nice, even these little bits aren't fragile or flimsy either. It says in the instructions to give them a little clean before we trim them up. So I've got this old toothbrush, some soapy water. I'm just going to pop them in. It says soak in for 10 minutes is recommended. So I thought these would float, but they sunk right to the bottom. But in they go. So I'm just going to leave those in there. So yeah, you can see they sink. So it's pretty dense and heavy, this. So in it goes. We'll leave that alone now, come back to it, and after it's soaked for 10 minutes, we'll give it a little scrub, and then we should be ready to dry it out. So there we go. Just going to use that toothbrush, run it all over, make sure I get right in there. And with all the different textures, we want to really give it a good old clean. So I do this for all the different pieces, and then I rinse them off thoroughly, and then put them on some kitchen towel just to soak up that water, a little bit more on the top, and then just change that towel after a few minutes, and then leave them to air dry. You can use a hairdryer if you wanted to, but I would have left them air dry. Then I'm going to just snip them off, be very careful here. So sometimes these can be quite brittle, these resin ones, but these are fine. So I'm just trimming them off, giving them a little clip, and then I'm going to take my little blade and then just scrape along almost. I'll do a little bit of trimming if I need to, like here, but then most of the time just using the side of the blade and just scratching it almost, just scraping off any little areas, any mold lines I can see. I'm just getting those, and there we go, just there, just trim that away. There's also little bits, almost like a little film that you can see on some parts. I'm just picking that off too. These chunky bits, they're a lot easier to take off than you can imagine. They kind of go down to a point as they meet the base. So just trim those off. And again, just grab that knife and then just trim it away, make it nice and flush. And before I glued this to the base, I also got a file and made it like very smooth and flat, so it adhered well. And then just going in, just picking out these little bits of film that you can see, really checking it over. It's quite easy to miss any little bits that might be popping out. And also the mold lines are very fine on this model with all the texture as well. So now I've got some glue to use. I'm going to use a Gorilla Super Glue for this, and I thought I'd try out this new one that comes with a brush. I thought that'd be better. But before I do that, I've just got this rounded file, and I'm very gently just going to go over the whole area that's going to be like glued, and I do that on both pieces. And I just figured this would give it something to like fix to, a little bit stronger connection, and hopefully that'll work. So I'm just being really careful not to ruin any of the model and get rid of any of the texture that should be there, and just add a little bit of roughness to that, and do it on the actual piece as well, the body bit that it's going to be stuck to. So just run it over. Don't forget that little hole, get in there too, give that a little bit. And then once I've done that, you can see it's just very finely scored, and that should help it adhere a little bit. Then I'll take that glue on the brush. I'm going to dry fit it first just to make sure I've got the right piece. And you can see it's got a nice neat join there. Get some glue on, being careful not to put too much on, because I think with this brush, the way it dips in, it could hold quite a lot of glue. So giving it a nice coat, going right in there again where that little piece is going to go in, and then we'll fix that on. I'm just going to hold it in place for maybe 10 seconds or so, and just let that glue take, and then leave it alone for an hour or so, just to make sure it's solid before I glue it onto the base. So just fixing it in. You can see the join is pretty good as well, really close to it, and that's taken, there we go, a little bit there. You can fill that in with a little bit of putty or something, so that would work no problem. And there we go. So yeah, you can see there's quite a fine join, and once we put some paint on that, you probably wouldn't even notice it. So I think that's really great. The face has got loads of character too, for a little fire elemental popping out there. And there we go. We'll just leave that alone now, and then once we've done that, I'll glue it to the base, and now you can see them all assembled and stood up. So we've got 3 fire elementals all together, and I think these are going to be really easy to paint. Actually, I think they'll be really quick. I'm going to do a coat of the orange, let it dry, go over it with a white dry brush, and then go over it with a yellow. And I've never done that before, so I'll be interested to see how that works. And I'll be using those speed paints for that, so that'll be a good way to see how they cover a large area like these models. But these are perfect for Dungeons and Dragons or my own game Weekend Warriors, which I'll be using them in. I think that'll be really fun. So look out for the painting video coming real soon. And then once I've got them painted, I'll be including them in a skirmish battle for Weekend Warriors. And I'll do a little feature video for that too, so you can see how the battles actually work in Weekend Warriors, and how you can get a model and then design a story and a game around it. I'll put a link below to the TT Combat website, so that you can go and check out everything they do. They make different games like Carnival, Drop Zone and others. They do all this MDF terrain that I've really got to try out at some point, because it looks pretty interesting. I think it'll be pretty good to paint up as well and add your different textures to and things. They do hobby accessories, all sorts of things like that. So yeah, lots to see on the website. I'll put a link for that down below, and they're based just down the road from me in Cornwall, so not far away at all. And here's the fire elementals on their website. The RRP is £12 on these, and they've got them in stock there now. And they also do free delivery outside of the UK if you spend over 100. But they also stock different suppliers like Element Games and Wayland Games. And I'll put links down there too, because you can save between 10 and 20% with those websites. And you'll support the channel here, because I get a small commission for any sales made. They're out of stock at Wayland at the moment, but you can get them on Element Games or on the TT Combat website. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.